Alright, in this video we are going to dive into some XML parsing using KLWP. Basically we're going to take an XML document and it's full of information. It might not look like it's full of too much information, but I got a lot of stuff, minimized here. And we're going to do this using the WUnderground API. I have done some videos on the WUnderground API, however I did have to pull those from the internet. There were 3 of them. I pulled them about a month ago, I guess, or something like that. But ever since I've pulled them, folks have requested, can you go back over? Can you do a video on WUnderground? And I've talked to the folks at WUnderground, and they are okay with me doing a tutorial only on using the information you can pull from the API. The downside, everything now, the API from WUnderground is full of stuff. Full. I mean, check out all this stuff. I probably have some of these minimized. I mean, you can get a lot more information than just the standard stuff that comes with KLWP. We can get pressures, you can get precipitation amounts. I know WUnderground or KLWP is getting updated with more and more stuff for weather as well. But if you want to get more detailed information based on your location, API may be your route to take. However, even if you're not interested in the weather API, learning how to parse the XML file, that's what I'm going to be going over here. I'm giving you some useful tips. And the one downside to using this is the icons. The icons are not clear. These are just GIFs, and they're like 50 by 50 pixels, I guess, and they're not clear. As you can see here, they're not clear. But nonetheless, even if you don't want to pull these images, I'm going to show you how you can take a XML, find a link to an image, and let KLWP pull that image for you. And we can do all of this using, I'm going to show you all of this stuff in this XML for WUnderground. So 2 things for you. Once I go through all this, I'm going to update my KLWP Toots APK on the Play Store with all this stuff in there. However, feel free to follow along. 2 globals that we have a text global, so you want to type all this stuff in exactly like you see it, with the exception of your API key. You want to type that in right there. However, if you do want different things to pull, like I'm pulling the current conditions and the forecast for 10 days, and I'm doing the query on the zip code. So make sure you include the KLWP code for zip code. That way it will change dynamically as you travel. Now, some things to take note here. Your API is completely free from WUnderground. Some things here, what you can pull all sorts of stuff. I mean, you can pull alerts, almanac, astronomy conditions, current hurricane forecast, blah, 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 blah. When you create, if you do not have an API yet, go over and get one if you're interested in doing this, and get the Anvil plan, because you can pull all of this stuff. Whereas the Stratus plan, not so much. It's completely free, and monthly pricing is 0. You get 500 calls per day, and you get 10 calls per minute. So just be careful, make sure you don't exceed it. Otherwise, they'll just kind of cut the API off for the day, and then you can't pull your weather data. But there you go. So that's the first global. The second global is, I have 2 icons up here. I'm going to show you how to pull the icons, and I'm going to show you how you can change a little bit of the URL to get different types of icons. They're not clear. They're not any clearer, but we are able to access those through the API. These are not SVG images. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that right now. If we go over here back to the documentation, if I scroll down to the bottom, and we look over here to the right, we have weather condition icon sets. And the only thing we have to change in the URL is a letter. And we're going to look at all this in a little bit. But notice we have an A, and then we have a B, and then we have a C. And this goes all the way. Look at all these icons. It would be nice if they were nice and clear. Some of these might be a little bit clearer. I'm not sure. We'll test that out if I can remember to do that by the end of the video. And it goes all the way to K. So that's this other list global variable, A through K, that I have listed right there. Now, let me back out of this real quick so we can actually see some information up here. Let me not save it. As you can see, I am pulling some information. And now I just want to make sure it's showing up in the advanced editor, which it is now. So those are the 2 globals that you need. I've talked about where to get the API from. Feel free to explore all this other stuff to learn how to pull even more information, like hourly forecast, if you really want that. You can get some really detailed stuff with this API, as I mentioned. But for now, I'm just going to focus on the current conditions and the forecast for 10 days. This should get the idea across to you of how to actually pull information from an XML document. So let's go through each piece that I already have listed up here. I'm going to give you some pluses and some minuses and some tips on how to properly pull this information. So if I go to current and I go to text where it says last updated right there. Now sorry I can't make this any bigger because I got to be able to show you this stuff over here where the information is coming from. Alright, so if I go to this little text item, we have to do a web get, and the web get function little code is right down here, and we want to do the parse the XPath expression for XML content at a URL. So notice my little code, I have GVWU. That's that text global variable where we have the web address, and that's what we have going right there. Of course, that's not the WUnderground one, but this is the code I'm using. Then we have XML, comma, and now 2 backslashes. What 2 backslashes will do is it's going to search through that entire document, and the first time that it sees observation underscore time, it's going to return whatever's inside of it. So if I scroll through here, we have a whole bunch of different things that I have closed. Look at all these things that I have closed. So it's searching through the document, and it's looking for this stuff in purplish whatever color, and it's looking for observation time. Boom. See that? That's the first time we see observation time. That's what 2 backslashes will do. It will search through that entire document and look for the first time it sees whatever you ask it to pull. So observation underscore time, and notice that what we see here is exactly what we see right there. So that's how we're getting that information. Make sure you put quotation marks around it, and don't forget your underscore. It has to match that perfectly. Okay? Now, so 2 backslashes, it's going to search for the first one that it sees, to my understanding at least. Let's go to this next one where it says Wilson, North Carolina. So here's some pluses and minuses on doing the double backslash. Now, so I'm doing that same code and I'm doing double backslash full. So it's going to search through this document, and the first time it sees full, so searching, boom, found full, it's going to return what it is, Wilson, North Carolina. However, there could be other times in this document where the word full gets used, such as right down here. And suppose you wanted this one instead of this one. Well, how do we get to this one? What we have to do is we have to tell the document to find observation location. Now we can do a double backslash there because this is the first time observation location gets shown in this XML document. So I'm going to go double backslash observation, not observant, underscore location, and then if we do a single backslash after that, now what that'll do is it'll tell the document, okay, look through it until you find the first observation underscore location. So searching, boom, there's the first observation location. Now once we're inside of there, go to full. And now that's why it's pulling Wilson Botanical Gardens, Wilson, North Carolina, as you can see right there. So that's a double backslash to get to this, which is going to bypass this one here. You understand what I'm saying there? So that's how we can get to ones where you have, like, if a word gets used twice, you can navigate to a specific one by, channeling through all this stuff, getting to another group, and then going inside of that group and pulling the information that you need. Alright, now I did not save that. I didn't push check, but it's going back to double slash full, so it's going back to this one right there. I hope that makes sense. Now, moving on to, okay, I'm skipping the icons for right now. I'm saving those to the end. Let's look at this temperature, 71.6. How are we getting that? Well, let's see if we can read this and navigate. So based on the way I have this, I'm telling it to look through that document, double backslash, and the first time it sees temp underscore F, I want it to give me that value or whatever it is. So let's scroll through this thing. Scrolling. There it is. The Fahrenheit. Temp underscore F. That's the first time it shows up in this document. So that's how we can get the current temperature relatively quick. However, if you had multiple temp underscore Fs, you'd have to navigate to a specific point. I guess probably what you'd want to do is probably navigate to, well, I mean, you have to, I'll show you that as we get to it. Trust me, I got something coming up to show you how to, some pluses and minuses over using this double backslash here. Can be a little bit misleading sometimes, and I'm about to show you that right now actually. Let's look at the high-low. The way I have the high-low is probably not coded the best way. Let me show you what I mean. So I have high of 88. I just typed in high. I had the little code here. And the way I had this coded is actually not the best way to have it coded. Watch this. If we navigate through this document, now highs and lows are not going to be underneath. Okay, I'm going to close out a few of these. Terms of service, don't need it. Features, don't need it. Current observation, don't need to be there anymore, because highs and lows will come from the WUnderground API. It'll come from the forecast. Now we have two different types of forecasts. We have text forecasts, which will give you detailed forecasts and sentences and stuff like that. And then you have these simple type of forecasts. But also notice inside of both of these things, we have this little region in simple forecast called forecast day. And then also here, we have a forecast day. So the way I had this coding can be a little bit misleading. Right here, for example, I want to search this little XML document for the first time it sees forecast day, and I'm going to explain what this one means. Well, that's the first time I see forecast day, right there. Not forecast days, but forecast day. And then we're going to search for Fahrenheit. I don't see Fahrenheit anywhere in here. The reason why, if I can actually just come back like this. Now this is it. Now the way I have it coded right now is probably not good practice. And then the way I have it coded right now is not good practice. Notice it still says 88. The reason why it still says 88 is because now it's searching for the first time it sees Fahrenheit. The first time it's going to see Fahrenheit is nowhere inside of this, all this junk that we see here. Look at all these things. Look at all these things I have closed. Boom. I mean, there's a bunch of things down here, but nowhere in here, all through this stuff that I've minimized, nowhere has it said Fahrenheit as one of our little pieces. But if I go to simple forecast and I scroll down through here a little bit, that's the first time it says Fahrenheit. You see what I'm saying? So that, yeah, sure. If you have the same, if you're pulling the same information, we can leave it like that. But a proper way to probably code this is to go ahead and tell the XML document to navigate to simple forecast. See how we have all these little groups underneath simple forecast? So we're going to tell it to go to simple forecast. This is the best practice in my opinion. So now it's not going to change anything about the 88. Simple. There's no underscore. I'm doing this one here. Simple forecast. And then underneath there, now notice I put 1 backslash. If you do 1 backslash, it's going to look directly underneath it to find Fahrenheit, where there's nowhere in there. What I want to do is I want to navigate to the particular forecast day that I want. Now I'm going to minimize all these things. You might say, well, there's a bunch of forecast days, and you're exactly right. So what we want to do, simple forecast. If I want to go to forecast day, I can bypass this forecast days by doing a double backslash, and actually the 88 is going to pop back up. But I'm going to go to forecast day, and I'm going to show you why I'm doing this right here in a second. Giving you a tutorial on how to use this stuff correctly. And I'm going to do a bracket, and I'm going to do a 1. And then I need to do forecast day, my bad. And then I want to go to under forecast day 1. I'm going to show you now. Here's what this 1 means. I'm going to show you right here in a second. And then if we look through here, I want to look for high. Make sure I'm pulling the exact spot. So I want to navigate till I get to high. And then underneath high, we don't need a double backslash because directly underneath high we have Fahrenheit. So you can do a single backslash. Notice my 88 come back up. You might say, well, I got 88 a lot easier by doing double backslash. It's not good practice to use that double backslash all the time because you might bypass some information, or you might just be, trust me. Let's go a little bit further into it. Maybe you'll understand what I'm saying here. So now, watch this. Suppose I want that low of 67. I got it showing right now, but if I go and delete all this stuff and I come back to that double backslash Fahrenheit, double backslash Fahrenheit, the first time it sees Fahrenheit in this document is 88. Well, I want to go down here to where it does this one. I want to pull that 67 and I want to pull it correctly by, getting that correct path to it. So really, it's almost the same code as what we have up here. Let me copy, and let me paste it. right there. Now, the only thing I need to change is, okay, I'm going searching through my document until I go to simple forecast, which is what I've already showed you up here. So I'm inside of my simple forecast group. Then quickly jump to forecast day group 1. I'm going to explain the one in a second. So forecast day 1, let's jump down to not high anymore. I want to jump down to low. So I want to skip over that group high. And we could have actually, well, yeah, just do it like this. Go to low. And now inside of low, which is that, give me that Fahrenheit. As you can see, it is showing 67. Now, what does this 1 do? I kept saying, I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you. Well, now I'm finally going to show you. If we look underneath here, we have multiple forecast day groups. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, we remember earlier I said we got a 10-day forecast. This is the simple forecast. So inside of forecast 1, that was that first group that I just closed out of. That's where I was getting that high of 88 and that low of 67. Well, how could we pull? Let me see here. Let me close out of that one. Okay, what about this one? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do 7. I'm not even going to open this up yet, and I'm going to change these 1s to 7s. What this should do is it should go to that 7th group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I tap on that, it's pulling a different. You have all this stuff in here. You got the day, what day this will be. This will be June 7th on this group, whereas up here, what was it? June the 1st probably. I closed out a date, but yeah. See, look, in the first forecast day group, it was June the 1st because today's June the 1st. But if I go to the 7th one, okay, we got June 7th. If I scroll down, and I want to find the high and the low. The high is going to be 85 degrees Fahrenheit. The low is going to be 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That's exactly what we got right there. And all I'm doing is changing that number right there. That's how you can navigate when you have multiple groups that are one after the other, or if you just have multiple groups like this, you know, see how they're occurring right after each other? We can use a square brace or bracket, whatever you want to call it, and we can use a number there to get that to that particular group. Like if I want to get down here to this last group, that's group number 10. So if I change that to a 10 and I change that to a 10, now the high, I guess 10 days from now on June the 10th, or that's really 9 days, but that it's a 10-day forecast, but today is actually included in one of those 10 days when you pull this API for the forecast for 10 days, by the way. But look, high 10 days from now, 90, boom, low 68, boom. As you can see, it is pulling it perfectly. So I hope that makes sense. And just to let's do one of these together, and just to speed this process up, I'm gonna copy a little bit of this code all the way up to right about there. Now let's find something totally random in this document, and let's see if we can pull it correctly. So suppose we want, I've showed you current observation. There's plenty of information to get from that. Let's go to forecast, and let's go to text forecast. And let me close out of these forecast days. There's going to be 20 of these here. And the reason why there's going to be 20 of these here is because the text forecast, it gives you a text forecast for the day and the night. For example, this would be forecast day group 1, but notice we're not under simple forecast anymore. Simple forecast is down here. I want to be in text forecast. So right here, that's Wednesday during the day, and then if I go to the second one here, that's going to be Wednesday night. Then it's going to be Thursday, and then it's going to be Thursday night. You see what I'm saying? So that's why there's 20 of these things here. So let's just pick a random one, and let's see if we can get, well, let's look at the information first. Suppose I want to pull the FCT text, okay? Well, how do we navigate to this thing? All right, I'm probably going to tell the document to quickly jump. So I'm going to delete. Let me come back out of here and let me add a new text item. So add a new text item, come down here to it, and let me copy part of that code that I just, so remember that, I did copy that a moment ago. All right, now remember, start off your little parsing with quotation. Now we don't need to do a single backslash. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and jump, and the first time we're going to see text forecast is right there. So I'm going to go ahead and tell it to quickly jump to text. What we need to do my double backslash though. text underscore forecast. Now, if I close this up, close my group and close my code, it's pulling a lot of junk right now. It's pulling every single thing inside of this. I mean, I'm talking not just this, it's pulling every single thing from all these pieces. Watch this. If I check this, look at that. I told you it's pulling a lot of stuff. So we really need to narrow that down and channel down to what we want. So what I want to get to under text forecast, we got a couple of these forecast days. Let's go to number 17. Let's go to number 17. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I want to go to that one right there. I know it says period 16, but you have to actually count. The first group is 1 with XML. It's not 0. I think it's 0 when you start JSON parsing, but I'll save that for another video. So text forecast, I'm inside of there. I want to jump to forecast. I want to go ahead and jump straight to forecast day. We can skip over forecast days. We can just jump straight to forecast day, and I want to go to group 17. So jump straight to forecast day, and I want to get number 17. All right, so that started. Now look, let me check this. Look, we've already minimized our information down, and not only that, it's not even, let's do fixed width, and let's just bump it on up. Let's look at that little bit of text there versus what I had a moment ago, because I'm starting to, zone in on what I want to get. And inside of here, I want to get the FCT text. So inside of forecast day 17, if I can get my little cursor right there in between it, forecast day 17. Now, since these items lie directly beneath it, you can do a single backslash and you can do FCT text. And notice it's pulling sunny, high near 85, winds northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. That's exactly what KLWP is pulling. Now, if I were to come in here and throw a double backslash, it's not really going to mess anything up because it's just going to jump to forecast day 17 inside of the text forecast group, and it's going to jump straight to the FCT text. So a single backslash or a double backslash here is not going to matter because the FCT text is right directly beneath forecast day 17. If we had another subgroup inside of here, which I don't see one, but if we did, we'd have to use a single backslash to navigate directly to it. So I hope that makes sense. Now let's talk about how to mess with these images. I'm going to go back to this first image here. Now the way I have this, I have it coded to pull a URL. Where is it pulling that URL from? All I want right now is the current icon. So I'm going to go back to current observation and see icon underscore URL. If we look through all this stuff, the first time we're going to see icon underscore URL anywhere in this document, the first time we'll see it is going to be right here. And notice it's pulling exactly what you see there. Rain.gif and all that other junk. So this is the URL that KLWP will pull, and it'll show that image on your screen. I hope that makes sense. Now, remember earlier, a while ago now actually, when we had the icon sets, remember how I said you can change the letter, and the API is automatically doing, looks like the letter K. Now there's icon URLs everywhere in this thing. Look, icon underscore URL. There's one right there. You see what I'm saying? They are everywhere. So you're going to have to channel specifically to which one you want using that parsing technique of double backslashes, single backslashes to get to which icon URL you want. Because when we go to forecast day, let me go to simple forecast, for example. Let me close current observation. I know I'm getting sidetracked, but it'll be all right. Forecast day, first forecast day, if we scroll down, do we have an icon? Look, see the icon underscore URL pops up everywhere in this document. But the reason why we can jump straight to this first one that we find is because we are under current observation. This is the current icon. All right? Now, suppose we wanted to get under simple forecast, suppose I wanted to get this one. I want to get that right there. How do we navigate to that? So how do we get the thunderstorm one? Now this is going to change to thunderstorm, but since I'm not connected to the internet, it's not going to pull it until I reconnect to the internet and then save my KLWP piece and we go back and look at it. But I'm not going to pull the image. I'm going to show you that in a second. I'm just going to show you that it will pull the right URL. How do we get it? Well, let's make sure we navigate correctly. So we want to go to, there's multiple ways we can do this. Let me show you the slow way, I guess, now. All right. We want to, inside of this document, we want to go to forecast. But we want to skip, I mean, really you have to go to response, then forecast. If I do a double backslash, it's going to jump straight to forecast. Okay, so it's jump straight to forecast. Inside of forecast, I want to go to simple forecast. Now, since simple forecast is directly beneath forecast, it's not by directly beneath, it's in that same little column. I'm not skipping over anything, so I'm going to go to simple forecast. All right, so I'm inside of this little piece now. Then, now do we really have to go to forecast days? No, but how do we skip over it? Notice how this one's directly beneath it in this little column. If I want to skip over it, I can't just go straight to forecast day. Watch this. If I do slash forecast day, it doesn't show anything up here. And the reason why it doesn't show anything up here, but if I put a days, if I put an S here, watch, notice it's popping up some junk. But if I want to go straight to this forecast day and I want to skip over this one that's directly beneath it in this little column here, just throw a double backslash right there. Boom. Now, which forecast day do we want to go to? Okay, since I'm in forecast day 1, I want to pull that thunderstorm. So forecast day group 1. By me doing all this stuff, the various ways I'm doing it, I'm not trying to confuse you. I'm just trying to get you used to using double backslashes versus single backslashes. And now if we scroll down through here, so I'm in forecast day group 1. Now technically there's only one spot inside of here where we have icon URL. So we don't have to navigate through a lot of this junk. We can just go ahead and do, I mean, you probably could get away with a single backslash. Let's try it. Icon underscore URL. And the reason why we can get away with one single backslash, even though you see a bunch of junk inside of this forecast day group 1 that I've called that over here, I mean, look at date, high, low. If I minimize all this junk, let me keep on going. Okay. Now, we're pulling, that is a little bit weird. I don't know. It seems like we'd have to navigate to, oh, no, we're good. Because look, we got forecast day, then we have date, period, high, low, conditions, icon, URL. Since these are all directly beneath this forecast day group 1, and icon URL is not another like subgroup of some other piece over here where we, like, you know, this, see how this low extends out to more stuff. Icon URL is in the same column as these things, so we can go straight to it by a single backslash, or it's not going to hurt to do a double backslash. What that'll do is it's just going to search through this entire icon or forecast day 1, and it's going to look for the first time it sees icon URL, which is that link that you see right there. So KLWP will pull that and download it, and it will show it on your home screen. Now, I'm not going to save that because I'm not connected to Wi-Fi. What I do want to show you as well is the way that you can change. Remember how we had A through K, I think it was? Let me go to this second image here. That's this guy right here. Look at how I have this one coded. I have it coded a little bit different. I'm actually typing in part of the URL manually. HTTP, blah, 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 blah. As you can see, it's matching all of this up until GV icon, $, GV icon, $. So now whatever letter I have in that list global variable that I mentioned way back at the beginning of this video, it's going to change that letter right there. All right, now which one is it currently pulling? Well, based on where we're getting this thing from, slash, now watch this, check this out. What is it doing here? How is it getting the word rain? Because notice this URL is matching. We got I/C/B. I'm guessing GV icon is currently B. And where the heck is it getting rain from? And we actually need to do, I should be putting .gif here. That way, I mean, I got away with it earlier, but I'm gonna go ahead and put .gif. Now, you know, the URL is starting to look somewhat like what this looks like. Obviously, it doesn't say T-storms. I'm just showing you the general idea here is the same. But how are we getting just the word rain? Well, I tell you what. Look at this little code here. We're navigating through the XML document, and we're searching for the first time we see icon. So going back up here to the very top, if I go to all this junk, the first time we're going to see the word icon in here is going to be for the current condition, and it's called icon. It's right there. That's where it's pulling it from. Now there's a bunch of places where icon shows up, so you're going to have to navigate directly to the one you want, especially when you start making, you know, your forecast component where you're getting the forecast, you're getting an icon for several of these things. But I hope you do get the idea of navigating through this thing using a double backslash versus a single backslash. Now, I'm going to go ahead and save that because I did add the .gif to the end. I think that is pretty important to do that. So let me go ahead and save this whole thing. Go back to the home screen. And as you can see, it took this away. And the reason why it took this away probably is because I'm not connected to the internet. So let me reconnect to the internet. And now that I'm reconnecting, this stuff over here is not going to match what KLWP is going to pull. So let me go ahead and go back into KLWP. Let me save it. Let me go back to the home screen. Notice it's pulled different information, different time. That's already changed on me. The temperatures have changed. The high and the low stayed the same. And now, what I've also done, so if I go back into KLWP, I tell you what, that little thing right there is what changes this guy, but I ain't really worried about that. I'm going to go to this globals, and let's change that B to a K. Notice it's pulling that same image. Let's change that K to a A. Now, it didn't change it. Let's see what type of pictures we should be getting. Okay, so under A, and I think it was rain, so it should be, you know, something like that, maybe, I guess. Okay, let's save it. Let's go back to the home screen. And, oh, okay, it's pulling. I guess the condition has changed to cloudy. Yeah, because there's the cloudy, but now it's pulling that one because that is in group A. That's not too bad, but I guarantee if I come in here and blow this thing up, it's going to be quite a bit blurry. Save it, go back to the home screen. It's doable, I guess. It's not too bad. Let's change it again. Let's see if we can't get the cloudy condition for... Let's find something that's a little bit different. Let's go down here to some of these. I did mention it, and I did remember. Let's see if how bad or how good these look. So I want to switch my text global to the letter I. Whoops. And let me save it. Look at that. That's that thing right there. That is horrible. So I'm not a fan of these GIFs, but nonetheless, I did want to show you how you can get the URL. Now, this little button right here, I'll leave it up here for you if you want to mess around with it. Now, the idea was I could press this and it would automatically pull the new one, but it's not going to pull it. I just tapped it and nothing happened. But if you look real quick, when I open KLWP, watch this thing change. It probably will change. Okay, it didn't, but watch this. If I save this, go back to the home screen. Okay, let me actually look. Okay, there we go. See how it did change on us a little bit? Oh, if I press plus now, okay, it is starting to change them on the fly. It wasn't doing that earlier. Now I'm pressing it and it ain't doing anything. It's probably because it doesn't have it stored in the cache, but hopefully you get the idea there. That's a way you can kind of like quickly change your icons. It doesn't work as nice as what I thought it would. You know, did you see that change real quick? Did you? I don't know. But nonetheless, you know, there you go. That's how you can pull images. So I hope this does give you a good idea of how to use the XML parsing. Like I said, you don't have to necessarily use this with WUnderground, but any XML document, and you can pull the information that you may need. This is actually useful, maybe pulling, if you can find an XML file for a music artist or way a database is laid out with song titles, the song artist, the year, and stuff like that. You can get that information, and that's something I'm going to be looking into as well, because I did get a request where, folks were looking for the year the album come out, and song lyrics. Song lyrics, that's going to be a little bit difficult unless we use Tasker, until we get the ability in KLWP to do HTTP GET, which is a feature of Tasker, which I'm patiently waiting, eagerly awaiting to become available in KLWP. But there you have it. That's a thorough overview of XML parsing, and also, bringing back the WUnderground API, showing you how to pull information just from the API. And that's it for this video. Hope it helped.